Welcome back. Aloy, I know your experience in Thebes was unsettling, but we have a new problem.
Did something go wrong with Beta and the rig? Will we be able to transport you to Gemini?
The rig is complete. The problem is Hephaestus itself. It has accelerated its proliferation throughout the Cauldron network, increasing its power.
But with your sub-functions restored, we can still succeed, right?
Correct. But the net effect is that absorbing Hephaestus will take longer than previously calculated.
How long?
Even with Omega clearance, my current estimate is that the merge will take 35 hours.
And each hour increases the risk of detection by the Zeniths. Two cores. Two overrides. What if the merge were carried out by two clones of Elizabeth Sobek, both armed with Omega clearance? How long then? Half the time?
Hephaestus would be unprepared for the simultaneous labor of two operators, in addition to obvious synergetic efficiencies. Calculating. It would reduce the merge time to approximately 4.5 hours.
Okay. Varl, it looks like we're gonna need Beta at Gemini. Do you think you can convince her?
I don't know, but I'll try.
What about our diversion? Are the pulse generators ready?
Only a final test remains. I am confident that if fired in proximity to other cauldrons, the pulses will mask our activities at Gemini from the Zeniths.
Good. As long as Aaron can operate one without shooting himself in the face.
Aloy, you better get down here. Beta's in bad shape.
Okay.
Use a drink.
Aloy. I tried, but it's impossible. I don't think anything will convince her to go.
We don't have a choice.
Good luck.
Beta, you have to come with us. It's the only way. It's one mission. The most important one. We need you. Tell me why you won't go. What if they take me back? Alone, in a cell again. A slave. Forever. The only way we can end the risk of that happening is by stopping the Zeniths for good. And in order to do that, we have to get Hephaestus. The Zeniths are a threat to everyone, Beta, not just you. So find your courage. That's easy for you to say. You still have no idea what they're capable of. I told you from the beginning we'll never beat them. It's hopeless. Beta. Leave me alone! You don't understand! You're right. I don't understand. We have the same genes, the same mind, the same heart. So why can't you find the strength to do what has to be done? Like Elizabeth would. Don't you think I've thought about that? I don't know what piece of Elizabeth I'm missing. I don't know what you have that I don't. I look through all the data from your focus. You were raised as an outcast, shunned, and isolated just like me, so what's the difference? What's my defect? Beta. You don't have a defect. Beta. Look, it's not a piece of Elizabeth. The difference is, I had him. Rost. He raised you, trained you, but he was never warm or loving. The day he died, the day he gave you that charm, he was going to abandon you. He wanted me to embrace the tribe. But then he gave his life for mine. He loved me in his own way. And that was enough. What did it feel like? It was like having the strength that was always there. It's still there. Even now I hear him in my head when things get bad. But it looks impossible. Look deeper. And then fight like you can win. You don't have to go on the mission. We'll find another way. I'll go. You're right. I'll only be safe from them when we succeed. But you have to promise me one thing. Yes, of course. If it goes bad, if the Zeniths find us, I don't want to be their slave again. Do you understand? Okay. Promise? I promise. I could use as much time as you can give me to study up on the merge, to make it as efficient as possible. I'll be ready when you are. I swear.
Aloy, whenever you're ready, come speak to me and I'll ask the others to make final preparations for the mission.
Aloy, may we speak?
Aloy, everything okay with you and Beta? It sounded like you guys had a, lively conversation.
We just had a lot to talk about.
Does this mean she's coming with us to Gemini?
It does. I hope you're ready to rein in the most stubborn AI of all time.
That's what all this was for, wasn't it?
Hephaestus won't go down quietly.
Hephaestus is just a program that's lost its way. We are fighting for our survival. I can always call upon the goddess if you're nervous.
Funny. How does everyone seem to you?
Anxious, but ready. I heard Katalo ask for Alva's help with his pulse generator. And I know he's been helping her with a few fighting techniques, just in case.
I hope they aren't needed.
Like I said, just in case.
You feeling okay?
I was just thinking about Beta and all that time spent with the Zeniths. To think someone would make a person just to lock them in a room to use when needed, like some sort of tool. Elizabeth Sobek sacrificed herself for the world, and yet they have no trouble treating Beta like a slave.
Another reason we have to stop them. Anything happen I should know about?
Zoe and Aaron tried to beat each other up.
I might have heard something about that.
Aaron made some jokes about the Utaru, called them twigs or something like that. She challenged him to a sparring match. Turns out that Utaru speed is a pretty good match for Oseram brawn. Things ended in a stalemate. Now they spar once in a while to see if they can break it.
Well, let me know how it goes. Anything new with you?
Aaron tried to convince me to help him build a... what did he call it? A drum set? But I'm pretty sure Zoe would kill him if it got any noisier around here.
Those two are having a hard time getting along, huh?
They're both stubborn, but they mean well. I'm sure they'll warm up to each other eventually.
Is there anything you need from me before I go?
Not unless you can somehow make me or Aaron better at that Tanacht board game, Strike. Now that Catalo started playing, I don't like our odds.
I'm surprised he agreed to play.
Someone might have told him Aaron helped defeat the Mad Sun King. He got friendlier after that. Still doesn't talk much, but he'll sit down for a game whenever he can.
How's everyone feeling?
Everyone's curious about Alva. It's amazing to think there's an entire tribe across the Great Waters who've been using focuses for longer than I've been alive. Zoe's been trying to get Alva to run her through Quen history, but she seems a bit shy around her.
From what I gather, the Quen get punished if they share data. She just needs some time to get used to us.
Makes sense. We'll give her some space. I never thanked you for helping Zoe fix her land gods. They mean so much to her. When we met Zoe, the Utaru wouldn't even listen to her. And now look what she's done for them. With your help, of course.
I know what it's like to be ignored by an entire tribe.
One day I hope the Nora can make up for that mistake. In the meantime, though, you're stuck with me.
I'm glad you're coming with me, Varl.
Sure there's no urge to run off alone in there somewhere?
No more running. Hey, we'll be going after Hephaestus soon. You good with the plan?
I've already got the location of my assigned cauldron.
Good.
I heard you and Beta had a talk.
News travels fast.
It wasn't exactly a quiet conversation.
There were just things that needed to be said.
A healthy crop to those who clear the weeds between them, as the Utaru say. Oh, I also wanted to give you this. For helping with the land gods. Plainsong is in your debt.
Thank you, Zoe.
You deserve much more for all you've done. May the land always bloom in your steps.
And yours? Have you met our new Quen guest yet?
I could barely keep up as she gave herself a tour of the base. Varl gave her a new focus. Though when he told her she was free to access all the data we have here, she turned so pale I thought she'd faint on the spot. We showed her to the archive room so she could see for herself. She hasn't left the place since.
That sounds like Alva. How are things with everyone?
Slightly quieter. Aaron's been busy scouring data on his newest obsession. Apparently the old ones wrestled machines as some kind of performance. Called it metal versus meat. A must-see battle between steel and flesh, as Aaron likes to put it. You'd think we have enough of that going around as it is.
I should go.
As soon as you intend to leave for Gemini...
You'll hear about it. Hey, I thought I'd check in before leaving for Gemini.
Are you sure we shouldn't be checking up on you? Whatever went on between you and Beta sounded intense. Not that I'm judging. Forge knows all the screws flew loose every time Ursa and I fought.
I think we'll be fine from now on.
I'm glad to hear it.
How are things with Catalo? You still scared of him?
Oh, she thinks she's funny. Actually, I played Strike with him. I had to fill in most of the conversation myself, but I'm still alive.
Glad to hear it. Have you spoken with Alva yet?
Yeah, when she's not reading the archives like a giddy kid drinking her first ale. She took to that new focus quick, that's for sure. I gotta say, I'm a little jealous. But I can see why you two hit it off.
I should go.
Same here. I got a date with a cauldron to prepare for.
I'm no chaplain, but that is... Aloy, are you well?
Had a bit of an issue with Beta. It's better now, though.
Ah, I'm not surprised.
Really? Why not?
I once knew a warrior who discovered he had a brother late in life. It was deeply uncomfortable for him.
Did he ever get over it?
In time. But not before the two siblings nearly killed each other in a single combat challenge.
Ah. Well, at least I avoided that. Have you had a chance to speak with Varl?
Briefly. He fought well against Regalla's troops at Barren Light. Are all Nora as skilled as the two of you?
I'm not exactly one of them. But anyway, the Nora can hold their own. They managed to push the Karja from their lands.
I thought my tribe was the only one to have done that. Impressive.
Does it still hurt?
It comes and goes. I try not to think about it, but its absence is always present for me. It's difficult to explain.
I can't claim to understand. Only empathize.
Then you have my thanks.
Have you spoken with Erend at all?
I've had little chance to. I did see him bring some ale from out east.
That stuff's as bitter as self-brush.
You get used to it, eventually. In fact, I wouldn't mind a drink myself.
I'm sure Erend wouldn't mind sharing. I should go get ready.
I await your orders.
Hello again, Aloy. Hello, Aloy.
Hey, Gaia. So, me and Beta, I guess you heard what happened.
Yes. I am continuously impressed by the complexity of human relationships. Despite the unpleasant circumstances that led to your quarrel, I am pleased to see you have both found an agreeable resolution.
Well, two heads are better than one, right?
Yes, I believe so. Are you ready to depart for Cauldron Gemini? Or we can continue our conversation, if you like.
So, Project Zero Dawn. The greatest minds in the world, all working to build the terraforming system while the Pharaoh Plague devoured the planet. What was it like?
Personnel worked in rotations, at all hours of the day. Resources and technology were secured from across the world. Within a month of the project's conception, I was launched and began my education. Elizabeth encouraged me to spend time with the rest of the Zero Dawn staff. She said it was important to experience many personalities and perspectives to aid in my emotional development.
What were they like?
Scared, hopeful, determined. They were hurtling toward technological achievements on a scale never before attempted. I owe everything to their dedication.
So Gemini has 2 data cores. I've never seen a cauldron like that. But you mentioned something about seismic activity?
When my predecessor attempted to build the cauldron, construction was disrupted by a series of earthquakes. The data core had already been built, but the rest of the facility sustained damage. So, she began again. A second core was built. However, when more tremblers occurred, she abandoned the site.
Lucky for us. Are the quakes still happening?
No, though they did also create instabilities in other facilities in the region.
So this facility, the Regional Control Center, it was meant to oversee the terraforming system?
For the local region, yes. Had humans received their education from the Apollo database, they would have then been guided here to assume operation. As that never happened, this place remained vacant.
Until Minerva decided to settle here. Okay, people. It's time to head out.
I'll get everyone together.
Connections in place. Booting up.
Beta, Aloy. I am fully installed on this core and ready to connect to the Cauldron network.
It's good to hear your voice. Errand, everyone. Fire your pulses and sound off.
I'm at my cauldron. This thingy, it's blinking. Did I do it right? In position at my cauldron. My pulse generator is blinking also.
That means they're working. I'm in position, and mine is too.
Mine as well.
Okay. Radio silence until I give the all clear. Signing off. Gaia, let's cage the beast.
Connecting to the Cauldron network now.
Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance. Elizabeth Sobek, Alpha Prime, activating Omega clearance.
Clearance confirmed. Initiating containment sequence.
Critical threat detected. Imperative escape containment. Applying
Lock it down!
Terminating external connections.
It's working. It's got nowhere to go.
Capture imminent. Initiate contingency 13F.
Wait, what's that?
Malware detected. Attempting to compensate.
It's cracked.
Look!
Engaging autonomous defenses. Directive neutralize.
That means machines are on their way. I'll stay here. Protect Beta.
Got it.
Be careful.
Get me that.
Gotta keep me on my feet.
Something wrong, Aloy! Stay back.
Aloy! Help!
Get back. Over here, you! Aloy! Need a hand over here!
Use it all up.
Draw it away from Beta!
It's really angry. Oh, you're running.
Stay back. Get back!
Golly. Fire's not gonna stay.
Over here, you!
Aloy! Help!
Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta! Stay back!
Get somewhere safe, Aloy.
Get back! Over here, you! Aloy! Need a hand over here!
Get somewhere safe, Aloy. I'm not giving up.
Draw it away from Beta!
Are you okay, Aloy?
Stay back! Get back!
Somewhere safe, Aloy.
Over here, you! Aloy! Need a hand over here! Draw it away from Beta! Stay back!
We'll call them for now. I better check on Beta and Pearl. You two okay?
Still breathing.
Save the extra stock for later. Aloy, Hephaestus can't escape, but it must have fled. Deeper into the facility. I'll drive it back here. I'll get the cracked core fixed in the meantime. Keep her safe, Varl.
On my life.
Okay, let's see. Oh, wow, that's a lot of damage. Right, first things first, move these wires aside. Chase after Hephaestus. Force it out of wherever it's hiding. Make it retreat to the core. This'll break my fall.
Aloy, I'm patched into your focus feed. You should know there's a huge power draw coming from the next chamber.
Thanks for the heads up. I'm almost there. Some kind of production chamber. Festus is up to something, all right?
What kind of machine is it trying to build?
I don't know, but I'm gonna shut it down. I bet those metal carriers will let me see where it's getting materials from.
I bet that's where Festus is hiding too.
Looks like there are a couple of ways I can do it. Should be able to catch a ride on one of those metal carriers.
Aloy, I've managed to rewire most of the components in the core, but the energy processor's cracked. Without a way to fabricate another, there's no way I can fix it.
Okay, let me think. What if you bypass the processor? Connect it to
the power node. I think that could work.
I think it could. I might be able to catch a ride on the rail. Go over the shield.
There should be a node you can override. Near the central power.
Thanks. I should deal with these machines first. Should
appears to employ secondary defenses. Intruder, your colony is at hand.
Oh, great. More machines on the way. Beta! Hephaestus has locked me out of the node. Any ideas?
I'll see what I can do.
This'll help. Got them all.
I tapped into the core's network hub. I managed to disrupt Hephaestus' control of the node. You should be able to override it now.
Nice. Thanks.
Attacking checks. Retreating to the materials bay on the side.
It sounds like it fled to another chamber.
Well, it better not get comfortable.
take the slow moving.
Great. Festus covered the floor with lightning. I gotta find a way over it.
Aloy! More machines keep coming! Please tell me you're getting close!
I'm working on it. I've been smashing through a lot of machines on my side, too.
I guess Aaron's missing out!
Aloy, I'm making progress on the bypass, but I need something to hold the cycling module together.
Maybe a ligament from one of the machine carcasses?
Right. Or some luminous braiding.
And you could reinforce it with a conversion cylinder.
For increased connectivity! I think we can do this, Aloy!
Got it. Still in this fight. Oh, here we go again.
Oh, that doesn't sound good. I'll try to get your access back.
Security parameters. Execute contingency Zeta 8.
Node access restored. Now you can operate it.
Good work.
You did the heavy lifting.
Sensor array carried. Construction ready. 1.
Okay. This is running out of places to hide.
Aloy? I just registered a huge energy surge back in the production chamber. Something big is happening.
Here too. Everything's glowing.
Machine Hephaestus was building. It must have finished it.
It's powerful. I'm almost done with the core repairs. Should we come to you? Maybe I could distract the machine if...
No, Beta. Just stay where you are, okay? Handling the machine's my job.
Okay. Be safe.
Your interference will be terminated. Deploying priority.
Stand by. I'm sending Hephaestus back to you. No more hiding, Hephaestus!
Got it! Hephaestus is back in the core!
Make sure it stays there. I'm heading back.
And then we can start the merge.
Because of you, Beta. I'm glad you came along. And you, Laurel. We couldn't have done any of this without you.
Right back at you, Aloy.
Aloy, the bypass is done.
The core is stable. Hephaestus is 100% contained. And we better get started with the merge. It's all set up. Gaia, establish the link, please.
Done.
To complete the merge, we need to excise Hephaestus' malicious code. Carefully.
Redundant copy. You cost us quite a lot of time. Eric, get Beta. And squash that bug while you're at it.
Get behind me.
Quit screwing around.
Now we're having fun, right?
Finally. Tilda, get Gaia and Hephaestus ready for transport. Tilda!
I failed.
Hush. All is not lost.
Tilda! What the hell are you doing? Stop her!
I can't even see her!
Beta. Farrell. Where am I?
Ah, you're awake. You took quite a hit when Gerard attacked you. I imagine you must still be in a great deal of pain. I can assure you that we are safe. The others can't detect us here.
You mean the other Zeniths? You must be Tilda.
I wasn't sure if Beta would have told you about me.
Where is she?
Alive. And while she isn't where she wants to be, not in urgent danger. We must discuss how to get her back, of course, after you've shaken off the cobwebs. When you're ready, take the stairs down the hall and come see me. In the meantime, I'll make breakfast.
Breakfast. Okay. What is this?
Just a few favorites from my collection. Rescued and stored here just before I went off-world. Take a look, if you like. I'm curious to hear your impressions.
My friend is dead. Beta and Gaia are gone, and you want me to look at old paintings?
Don't be so quick to dismiss the comfort we can find in art, or the insight we might gain. Done so soon?
I've got more important things to worry about.
We both do. There is much we are trying to save. Not the least of which is in that vault. There's nothing wrong with savoring such treasures for a moment more.
There you are. Feeling better?
How did you find us? At the cauldron? And what did you do to everyone right before I passed out?
All business, I see. Well, suffice it to say we were keeping a very close eye on Hephaestus, knowing we would need it at some point. Your ruse didn't fool us, and as for My little trick. It was an overload of the senses, accompanied by an energy discharge. Gerard and Eric were only momentarily disoriented due to their shields, but it rendered you unconscious while I got you out. Perhaps some breakfast might steady you a bit?
This was your house. The one you recreated for Beta, in the data channel you shared.
How perceptive of you. Please, this way.
After everything your people have done, you think I'm just gonna sit down and have a chat with you?
They're not my people. They never were, and especially not now.
You shot off into space with them, and lived with them for 1,000 years before coming back. So what made you suddenly turn on them?
Quite simply, this.
My old focus. You repaired it? But that means you've seen
incredible things. What you've accomplished in 2 decades of life. A 1,000 years at my back, and I haven't even come close. I'm sorry if I invaded your privacy, but I had to. In order to understand. To be enlightened. You truly are Elizabeth's blood. With her drive, her sense of mission, her integrity. Watching all this shamed me for the company that I've kept. Having seen it, all I want is to help you.
Even if it means stopping your friends?
Especially so. Please, sit down. There. That's better. Now, we must recover Beta and Gaia at all costs. By now, you must know that Gerard intends to use Gaia to reboot the Earth's biosphere. Remaking this world to specifications that would only suit us immortals. This process will kill every living thing on the planet. He calls it a clean install.
Not if I stop him first.
Not if we do. And once he and the others are gone, we can work together to fulfill Elizabeth's dream. I'm sure Beta told you that there's a build of the Apollo database on board our ship. A complete collection of human knowledge. With that and Gaia, we could do everything Elizabeth wanted. Heal the biosphere, educate the people of this world, uplift them. Create the world she imagined.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. From what I've seen, your friends are invincible.
I do wish you would stop calling them my friends. And they're not invincible. In fact, a friend of yours has found a way to defeat them.
Silence.
Oh, he's been a busy bee, building an army powerful enough to crash through Gerard's precious base.
Regala and her rebels.
Even now, she's preparing a final march on the Tenakth capital. When she wins, she'll have the entire tribe under her control. Hundreds of warriors and machines to throw at the base. She's been duped. They'll all perish, of course. But it should be enough to break Gerard's defenses and allow Silence to kill him. Along with all the others.
Using the new weapon he's developed.
Yes, he's found a way to circumvent our shields. Truly an exceptional man. He's planned for everything. Except you and me. You see, while his army is battering down Gerard's doors, you and I will sneak in through a back way. One that only I know about. while Silence and my friends are busy battling each other, we'll take back Beta and Gaia. I told you I want to help you. I mean it.
You said Beta is not in urgent danger, so what are the Zeniths doing to her?
Putting her to work. Merging Hephaestus with Gaia. A difficult, time-consuming task, as I'm sure you know. They will compel her if need be, but her life is not in danger. She's the only one who can do it.
Because you people made her to be nothing but a tool.
Gerard's idea, not mine. They always viewed me with suspicion when I attempted any form of kindness towards her. That's why I created the data channel. A virtual place where we could speak in peace.
So this channel you shared with Beta, none of the other Zeniths ever found out about it?
Gerard believes he's the most cunning of all of us. Even after 1,000 years, he still can't imagine that I would outwit him. The channel allowed me to interact with Beta away from their mistrustful eyes. It offered us a chance to be ourselves.
Until you cut off all contact.
Yes, though it pained me. I was worried that our meetings would do her more harm than good.
Well, she felt like you tossed her aside.
I was afraid the others would find out and punish her. She may not have had the comforts of friendship anymore, but at least I ensured she was safe. I know it seems harsh, but you must believe that her well-being has always been paramount to me.
Why did you make the data channel look like this place?
I built this house as a shelter to weather any storm. A safe place. Not just for me, but for the art stored below. Cultural artifacts of incalculable value. Truly some of the greatest achievements of human civilization.
And you wanted Beta to see them?
Yes. Her upbringing was so cold and technical. I thought if she could experience Vermeer and Rembrandt, it would bring something else into her life. A heritage every bit as valuable as the scientific and technical data being drummed into her. I'm sorry I had to cut off contact, but I'll never regret sharing this house with her. She needed its shelter even more than I did.
My old focus. How did you find it, let alone repair it?
When we encountered you at the Hades Proving Lab, Gerard saw you as a redundancy. I knew better. You were a revelation. After your dramatic escape, bravo, by the way. Gerard and Eric assumed you were dead and gave up the hunt. I wasn't so sure. When the others were busy, I returned to the lab and searched for any trace of you. That's when I found this little treasure. Not easy to repair, but certainly worth the effort. As I watched your life unfold, you were like a splash of color on a worn canvas. What Liz was, and more.
Did you show it to the others?
Of course not. It was your actions that inspired me to defy them. It's worth noting that if I hadn't found it and watched its contents, I wouldn't have known to save you at the cauldron. You'd be dead.
So I should be grateful?
If you like.
So you know all about me. What about you?
What would you like to know?
Well, start with your life on Earth.
When I was 8, terrorists flooded my home city. Thousands drowned, my parents included. I was one of the few who survived. My guardian sent me to boarding school. Among my peers, I was the strange girl, the orphan to be avoided. All because of circumstances beyond my control.
Oh. So we're a lot alike, huh?
Aren't we? You're an outcast. But you didn't let that stop you from getting what you needed. Neither did I. I climbed my way out of desolation and used my wits to build a fortune. First, from the technical analysis of art and the detection of forgeries. Profitable expertise in those days. But as it turned out, the software I developed was even more useful for counterintelligence. From there, it was only a short step to gathering extremely valuable intelligence on my own.
You were a spy?
More like a service one could turn to for information. I had to remain anonymous, of course, to protect my privacy. But despite that anonymity, Far Zenith inevitably sought me out.
What happened when Far Zenith approached you?
They painted an irresistible vision of humanity's future. One where we need not fear illness or death, where we explored the furthest reaches of the stars and thrived. It was only later that I realized that they only intended to bequeath this future to the rich and powerful. By the time I finally figured it out, the walls were closing in, Pharaoh's machines were devouring the Earth. So I accepted Far Zenith's invitation to a berth on the Odyssey. I wanted Liz to come, but she had nobler plans, as you well know.
So you didn't know the other Zeniths were monsters until it was too late?
I knew some of them were, certainly. It wasn't until we were off-planet that I understood the true scope of their greed. I was grateful to simply be alive, but the others became obsessed with a kind of effortless immortality. They built a colony where machines serviced their every need, where any memory or fantasy could be endlessly savored in virtual reality. It wasn't life. It was stultifying, a pampered dream state. As the decades passed, I withdrew more and more, alone yet again, but this time with eons to consider my mistakes. Now finally, having met you, I feel like I have a second chance.
To do what?
Help you, of course. To fulfill Liz's dream, which isn't so different from Far Zenith's original vision. A better future for humanity.
Beta told me your colony was destroyed. That you came back to Earth because you had nowhere else to go.
It's true. After we reached our destination, a planet in the Sirius star system, we spent decades building a new home. The physical constraints of Earth, the boundaries of mortality, gone. To think of what we could have done with it. It might have been a utopia. Instead, we stagnated, absorbed in effortless comforts and virtual realities. It took a cataclysm to finally yank us out of our stupor.
What happened?
A massive geological event. We knew of instabilities in the planet core, but we underestimated them. By the time the collapse was upon us, it was too late to stop it. Only a few of us made it to the ship in time. We set course for Earth, the only safe harbor left to us.
Which you decided to make unsafe for anyone else.
Not me. Gerard. He believes it's better to wipe the canvas clean than work around the smudges. No more primitive tribes, no more combat machines, only a blank slate to do with as he pleases. But we will stop him. All we have to do is get into that base.
What exactly is your plan to sneak into the Zenith base?
We will make use of a lesson I learned from an early age. Always know your exits. In this case, a place where Gerard's new construction meets the ancient foundation, a passage that only I can access. When Silence flings his army at the base, we will enter through this back door, bypassing most of the fighting. The distraction will provide us with a window in which to rescue Beta and Gaia.
Once we're inside the base, where will we find Beta and Gaia?
Here in the command center. By then, Gaia will have been reunited with all of its subordinate functions, including Hephaestus.
What about the alpha build of Apollo on your ship?
A simple matter of recovery once the others have been dealt with. With that in hand, we'll have everything we need to make this world as it should be.
How do you know about Silence's plan?
He isn't the only one adept at spyware.
You hacked his focus?
No, he's too careful for that. But his subordinates? Not so much. He gave additional focuses to the tribals he branded the Sons of Prometheus.
The ones working with Regala.
By tapping their focuses, I learned about most of his dealings. The distribution of override technology, the arming of Tanakh rebels, and the secret pact with Regala to attack Gerard's base.
But how did he come up with a weapon that can take down your shields?
That's the one thing I haven't been able to figure out, but however he did it, I'm quite certain it will work. With it and the Tanakh army, victory seems to be within his grasp. Such a shame he'll be disappointed.
Regala's only interested in killing Hekarro and waging war on the Karja. What does she have to gain by attacking Zeniths?
It's the price she must pay for her war. Without the ability to override machines, her little rebellion would have languished in the desert.
So she trades with the Sons of Prometheus. Machines to help her overthrow Hekarro.
In exchange for an assault on the base. Pride has deluded her into thinking she can actually survive such a battle. And all without ever knowing who the Sons of Prometheus really answer to. Yet for all of Silence's brilliance, still he underestimates you. That blind spot is what will allow us to take Beta and Gaia right out from under him.
While hundreds of Tanakh are cut down outside. So you knew Elizabeth. What was she like?
Liz was everything she was. I see in you. And more. Your ingenuity, your determination, your moral compass. You've managed to distill her greatest qualities and make them your own.
I'm not asking about me. Tell me about Elizabeth. What was she really like?
The honest answer is that I don't actually know. For all the time that I spent with her, she always kept a part of herself locked away. It was like that from the moment we met.
So when you met Elizabeth, she was what? Distant? Aloof?
Not aloof. Not exactly. It was a summit in Paris about machine learning. A touchy subject in those days. Because regulatory authorities were just starting to clamp down on AIs. Liz gave the keynote address. She had already achieved great renown for her work in automated environmental reclamation. But in her address, she was just starting to imagine the next step. An AI-driven system that wouldn't just act on its programming, but actually take responsibility for its sphere of influence.
To care about life. Not just follow orders.
Revolutionary stuff. I was fascinated. And I wanted to meet her for a long time. I watched her after her talk. She had spoken with such moral authority, such empathy. But after that, she retreated. I could tell she felt uncomfortable with all of her admirers. It was as if giving the talk had cost her something. I didn't want to be a pest, so I planned my approach carefully.
So how did you finally approach Elizabeth after her talk?
I picked the right moment. The morning of the next day, right as she came back to the conference, she had just had her coffee. She was fresh, rested. It was like she had braced herself for the onslaught of colleagues. I asked if I could walk with her, then put forth a question about her talk that I thought was intelligent. Her answer made me realize it wasn't, but she was very welcoming. Almost as if we were previously acquainted. It was only halfway through the conversation that I realized she knew exactly who I was. It was quite a shock to me. My business was trafficking in secrets, and I took great pains to protect my anonymity. So that was Liz, perpetually one step ahead. I came to view our meeting as a metaphor for our friendship. She always seemed to know me far better than I knew her.
I guess I know the feeling. First Varl, now Hikaru and the Tenakth. Your plan would wipe out an entire tribe. There has to be another way.
We are in an admittedly desperate situation, but I assure you there isn't. Remember Zero Dawn. Elizabeth's sacrifice. Sometimes many have to die for a new world to grow.
If it looks impossible, look deeper. Wait. The data channel. It still exists, doesn't it? I need you to open it. Let me talk to Beta.
Impossible. We might be detected.
It's worth the risk. There is another way, one where the Tenakth survive.
But we won't. If the others...
If you want to help, open it. What are they doing to her?
Virtual reality dissociation. The manual merge of Hephaestus will take hours upon hours of tedious micromanagement. If she resists the work, they run simulations to induce feelings of isolation and despair.
Beta, can you hear me?
You're alive. They're watching me. I can't hold up this extra projection for long. You should have killed me.
No. No, look at me. I'm coming for you. I promise, okay? I just need you to hold out a little while longer and work on the merge.
Then I think it can be done.
I'll contact again when it's time. Can you hold on?
As long as I know you're coming for me, I can endure anything.
All right. I did as you asked. Now I think you need to tell me what you're planning.
I'm going to take Silent's army away. I don't need it. Only the weapon he made to penetrate your shields.
And how do you propose to get it? Ask him nicely?
Without Regala and her rebels, he won't have a choice. We'll be his only option.
Only option for what? What did you tell her?
That is between me and my sister. Will be Sylens' only option for crashing that base. I'll tell you the rest later. But first, there are a couple of things I have to do.
Oh. And what are those?
Lay my friend to rest. And then I'm going to use the override that Beta gave me at Gemini to put an end to Regalla's rebellion. From the air.
Wait. Since you insist on doing things your way, I know of something that will truly help you make a grand entrance with the Tenat. The ancient Horus Titans still possess electromagnetic energy cells as part of their arsenal. Drop one of those on Regalla's army and they'll receive quite a surprise. So go, do what you must. I'll come to your base if you manage to bring Sylens to the table.
Not if. When. Erend, are you there?
Aloy! Aloy, is that really you?
Yeah, it's me. Where's everyone else?
We're all... We're back at base. What happened?
It might be easier to explain in person. I'll try to join you there when I can.
Okay. We'll wait here for you. It's good to hear your voice, Aloy.
Just to let you know, I'm now patched into your focus network.
Great. I take it the other Zeniths can't hear us?
Of course not. And they don't know about your base either, in case you were wondering. I've sent you data on the Horus energy cells you can use against Regalla's forces. Reach out to me when you're ready to acquire one.
Understood. Snow's melting on my clothes.